Hey guys, I'm over here at this is Dana Point, so it's like the southernmost point, or close to the southernmost point of Orange County. It's a really nice, really nice part of Orange County. Actually, I think it's the best part of Orange County, maybe. Uh, Everyone's got their favorites, but anyway, this is it's 60 miles south of Los Angeles and 65 miles north of San Diego. So it's really well located. So you've got the best of both worlds. And really, if you live over here, like the biggest major city or the biggest part of it is probably going to Irvine, which is really not that far away. It's like 20 minutes. And there's a whole bunch of different cities over here that you can go to. So yeah, I just showed you the harbour here. It's just called Dana Point Harbour, and it's kind of flanked by beautiful places where a lot of people go paddleboarding, kayaking, that sort of thing. So it's really nice, and a whole bunch of people out here. It's like extremely wholesome environment. It's flanked by these sand cliffs. I guess that's probably the best way to say it. I mean, they're definitely sand cliffs, and so I might even be a little bit worried if I had a house up there, but I'm sure they know what they're doing. So yeah, it's really nice over here. So it's definitely worth coming over here. I'll go over here and just give you guys a view of the fun. There's kind of like a beach here. It's not like a regular beach, but the beaches are pretty nearby, so there's not any problem with finding beaches over here. This is probably more family one where you've got kind of an enclosed area and a little park next to it, so it's a really good environment. And by the way, parking was so simple. 4-hour parking, free. So yeah, have a look at this over here. So this is really nice. Like I said, really wholesome environment. You're not too far from everything, but you're far enough out that you've got an enclosed environment. But I mean, take a look at this. So this looks like very easygoing, especially if you've got little kids. This is probably a really good beach, so you don't have to really be worried about them getting swept out to sea and so on. It's actually got there's the breakwaters over here, so the water is always flat. But like I said, you can go kayaking over here. They actually rent these paddle boards. It's not super cheap, but it's really not that expensive. I saw it. I think it was $25 for 1 hour, and I think $40 for 2 hours. So, if you look over here, you can have a lot of fun for not that much money. And that's over here these West Wing sailing guys, and look, you've got some really nice boats over here, but that water looks pretty clean. If it was out to sea, it would probably be cleaner. But that's a regular port type of water. But you can see that a lot of people having tremendous amounts of fun over here. So I'm going to circle back over to the harbour itself, and there is a lot of different. Here we go. This is what they're showing here. So between 9 and 3, it's $25 for an hour, and that includes the doubles and singles. Pretty cool. I think it's well worth it. Now, if you do this often enough, these paddleboards are actually not that expensive, so you're probably just better off owning one and just bringing it out. You just get a rack on your car, but you can see them over here. So I'm just gonna walk around here a little bit. I mean, really, this is peak Southern County, Orange County. So this is where you want to be, in my opinion, if you want to get away from it, but have all of the I would say all of the major conveniences that you need to live a good life. The schools are actually pretty good down here. Weather, as you can imagine, I mean, hey, it's middle of January and it's more than good enough to go to the beach. So obviously it's not hot, but for my British and Australian and anyone else type guys, you know, the temperature is about 25 degrees, and which is in Celsius. If you go Fahrenheit, it's, you know, in the mid 70s. Yesterday was actually quite a bit warmer. It was in the region of 28 degrees, so about 80. And it's probably going to cool down a little bit, but it's, you know, what a great environment. You know, if you've got a family, you come down here, it really costs you very little to be here. You know, if you don't factor in gas for your car and distance, depending on how far you live, but certainly living over here is not cheap in general because the property prices are very high, and obviously that's for a reason. But let me just kind of circle around the harbour itself. You know, actually there's a board over here for people who actually are selling their boats. And look, you know, I think it's a lovely idea when you don't have one. And you know, as they say, the best day of your life is when you bought it, and the worst day is when you have to sell it. So or something like that. But you know, two best days of your life: when you buy it and when you sell it. So yeah, so essentially everyone is walking around, beautiful sunny skies. There was actually a lot of rain about 2 weeks ago. It was primarily around the Christmas New Year period, and maybe just a little bit afterwards, but that's, you know, that's every year in California. It's more or less around that time. In particular, it's in the kind of January time period where it rains, and then you get a whole bunch of weather which is just like this, and then, you know, you think you're about to hit summer, and then all of a sudden you hit grey May, and you think, okay, that'll pass, and no, then you get June gloom. So just know that living in Southern California, and probably, look, hey, it's probably Northern California too. It's wherever you've got bays and water, and May and June, they just happen to be a bit gloomy, you know, in comparison, I would say. But look, so hey, what we've got over here is we've got seals just kind of swimming around. There's actually a section over here where the seals themselves actually congregate, and there's a lot of them, and it's obviously smelly. Let me see if I can get to that point here, but definitely don't go near the seals because they look really pretty, they look very nice, but actually, you know, they're quite dangerous animals. So, you know, so don't get fooled by how cute they are. So yeah, so like I said, I mean, really nice place to go for a walk. The bike paths are all in the major road over here. I mean, it's not even that big a road, but you know, if you kind of go over there, you can see where people can actually get on their bikes and go for longer rides. So that's a lot of fun. So you can actually see there's a road that's going right over the harbour itself, and as soon as you hit that, you actually get to the beach. So that's really what's going on here. So so the harbour is, you know, all enclosed, all protected from you know, inclement weather, and you know, the boats themselves getting moved around by choppy waters. So that doesn't happen over here. I have no idea how much it costs to moor your boat here. I know that the cost includes, you know, the space, and then the space itself, the actual I think it's the length. I think it's probably the length, and when you're in that space, depending on what length you have, that'll determine how much sewage you get to expel, and how much power you will use, and so on. So you can see here, this is the board I was talking about before. That you've got your mariners yacht and ship brokerage, and people, you know, try to sell their boats, but you know, some of these are like quite inexpensive, quite frankly. And if you look at this one here, that one is not that bad. I have no idea what the running costs are on that, so you know, you shouldn't shouldn't consider any of the price itself, the end of it. But you know, this guy here is, I mean, it's like 24,009. I mean, who knows if there's any problems with it, but you know, that seems quite reasonable. This one here seems quite reasonable as well. This is a 36-foot one, but then, you know, you've got one that doesn't look that great, and it's 550. I mean, you know, some of these you can actually live inside them, right? So they've got bedrooms and so on. You know, that's a whole lifestyle decision right there. So you know, I think definitely if you're going to buy a boat, especially the big ones, you want to really look at what that means moving forward. You know, maybe it's enough just to get a little cool one like this. You know, in Australia we would call these dinghies, but you know, it's a sailboat. If you go inside, you can actually sleep in there. There's probably like a very small kitchen, but you could subsist if you wanted to. So some of these you can't, like this one here. This is probably more a fishing boat. So you know, depends what kind of lifestyle you're looking for. Some of these are not going to work at all. I think some people actually do live here full time, and you know, if you want to minimize, that's great. Some of these bigger ones over there, I think right at the end, they've actually got like 3 or 4 bedrooms, and you know, pretty amazing stuff. But yeah, when you pay for the mooring, you get access to water, internet, and yeah, waste management, and so on. So you know, that in itself could be a lot. So you know, even if you only pay 100 or 200,000 for your boat, it might cost you $2,000 or $3,000 just to exist here. So you know, that's something to bear in mind. All right, but here you go. So like I said, this is the road that goes over and over to the beach. So that, I don't know if I'm gonna bore you guys long enough for me to walk over that bridge. I definitely will walk over that bridge, but it might make this video too long. Let's just see how it goes. So you can actually walk. There's a walkway just below it, or you can actually go on the bridge itself. But I think what we'll do for this one here is we'll just kind of head over this side here. I guess there's another part of the harbour. Maybe it's like more of an extension, but they do note here that this is the pedestrian crossing. So I'm not sure what the best way is to get over there, but you know, definitely there's so many places to walk around that it's well worth it anyway. So here we go. So yeah, definitely we've got a whole other part of the harbour over here. These look like much bigger boats over here. So definitely beyond this road and beyond this harbour, there's the open sea, and there are beaches actually north and south of here as well. So hey, look, if you are near enough, it's definitely worth coming over here, especially if you've got a young family. A lot of fun right here. But you know, again, don't just stay in the harbour, walk over to the beaches, walk along these sand cliffs as well. You can actually go a little bit higher up as well. They've got lookout areas. But yeah, you can see a lot of people coming here. I arrived at about 10:30 in the morning and had absolutely no problem getting in, so that would be a reasonable time, and it doesn't mean that you have to get up super early to get here. So anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, please comment. Bye.